Joining us now is Lisa Vella. We're going to be talking about alternative success. Welcome to the show, Lisa. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Good. I want to understand how you started about being an advocate for others. What was the process like, and how did you start your company?
So I have a lot of experience and a background in education. I always worked with very difficult inner city um, children and in difficult schools. And I always had a passion for working with those parents and those children. And it eventually evolved into helping families privately if they needed guidance on finding an alternative solution for their children. And that's how alternative success is now alternative success.
Did you find early on that some of the children that were in the more difficult situations or had more difficult challenges, if you will, maybe did not have the early diagnosis, but that had they had their situation or their challenges diagnosed, would have had better results early on? Do you see my questioning this?
Yes, I
I'm just
feel,
wondering, like, which comes first? Is it that they couldn't have traditional schooling because they didn't have early intervention, and
so I think they definitely had traditional schooling, but
right?
maybe weren't successful.
Okay.
And if they're not successful, they may not have had proper guidance on what other solutions are out there for them so that they can be successful at any age. And I think that's where my role comes in as working privately with families so that I can guide them and help them identify what is that right placement, what is that alternative option where they can be successful and grow socially, emotionally, and academically.
So, Lisa, how do you go about vetting the programs? Because you're really like that advocate. You're like the bridge between the parent and the student and the program. How do you go about vetting them before you refer them?
Yes, and this is a very, scary process for parents. So my role is to be able to travel to programs so that I can properly vet them. I get to meet with clinicians, um, all the leadership, individual therapists that work in the program. I spend time with the children in the program as well. I get to interview them so that I get to know the program really, really well.
Sometimes, as parents, you want what's best for your child. And sometimes, when they're struggling in school, parents tend to blame the child. Like, how come you're spending 3 hours on your homework for math? Why are you blah, 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 blah? And they're like disciplining them. But meanwhile, there could be other issues like ADHD, or they could be on the autism spectrum or things of that nature. Do you find it's like a educational connection between almost educating the parents along with the child in your process? Are you
Yes.
treating the whole family?
Treating the whole family, working with the parents and guiding them so that they can properly identify and guide them with the right services and sources so that they can be successful. Yes.
Oftentimes on my show, I love to tell someone's SOAR story, which was the situation, the objective, the action, and the result. Can you walk us through something that you're feeling particularly good about, whether it was in the past or lately? Like, what was the situation? How did the parents come to you? And what has been the result?
So I feel good about what I do every single day. I certainly this morning was a perfect example of a great day. A text from a mom who thanked me for working with her child years ago and now being able to apply to college. Um,
And when
that
they
child
first,
was struggling
yeah,
significantly in the home, and a lot of times I bring them to a level of safety and the right supports so that they can be successful and they're safe and then just doing well.
there's so many things that you work with. You work with anxiety, depression, eating disorders, mood disorders, ADHD, like I guess all those alphabet things you can help with, right? Um, Even like self-harm, trauma, if your child's cutting, if they're having attachment issues because they might be adopted, or people that are going through just like really difficult, challenging times, especially during those teenage years where they're trying to find their own identity and things like that. And you're
Yes.
there to be a peaceful, helpful solution provider.
Yes. So parents, a parent reaching out to me will be a parent that has already tried a lot of other things, and they're now at wit's end, and they need guidance on what to do next.
Okay. And so do you meet with them like once a month, or like does it depend and you just put together like a private plan for them?
So it's a comprehensive plan,
Okay.
and the initial part is really being able to spend a lot of hours with the parents so that I can properly identify what is the right level of care. There are different programs, different kinds of programs, different levels of care. And so it's important to be able to understand the history well before making that recommendation. And in addition to those interviews with parents, I'm also speaking with their therapists, with their psychiatrists, with the school. And so it's important to have all of those pieces. It's like putting the pieces to the puzzle together so that I can properly make an appropriate recommendation.
Well, congratulations today on that wonderful, successful call from the mom that said you're helping that child who's now going to be applying for colleges. And I guess for you, that's where the joy is. Is there like a hotline or something that, from coast to coast that somebody could reach out to if they feel like their child's in need? Like, what's a good first step for a parent? How do they know where to go?
So when a parent reaches out to me, it's because they've been referred by their psychiatrist, their therapist, their school district, maybe someone else, a friend,
Okay.
someone who knows the situation well and has heard about me, and they will reach out to me. But the
Wonderful.
first step is if your child is in danger, you should go to the emergency room.
Yes. Yeah. Get them safe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. We've been visiting with Lisa Vella from Alternative Success, and thank you for watching.